Bill Kozyra is the chairman, the CEO, and the president of TI Fluid Systems. And Bill, it's great to get some time with you right now. What I'm wondering is, what are the automakers telling you about when you might get back into production again?
Well, John, good morning, and thank you very much for the opportunity to chat today. I think there's quite a bit of, quite frankly, confusion right now about startup times and dates, and we're certainly remaining flexible. It certainly depends by region. Of course, in China and Korea and Asia Pacific in general, we've been operating there quite well for several weeks, and I think to everybody's surprise, the volumes there seem to be better than expected. In Europe, we just actually started our facilities last week on a selected basis. And then, of course, here in North America and Latin America, including Mexico, of course, our facilities are all shut down at the current time. But we do expect that we would resume production sometime in the month of May, and we're looking forward to it.
Yeah, I got to believe that you learned a lot bringing your operations back up in China. Is that right? Can you take those lessons learned, apply them to Europe and the Americas?
Yeah, to some extent. China always was, I'll say, better equipped from a PPE standpoint, if you will, to be able to resume operations, I think, better than we were in Europe or North America. But we have implemented a very extensive return to work policy and procedure, which requires us to first train all of our employees before they come back to the office. And of course, we embrace that new policy in China and Korea as we brought up the European operations last week. But I think all of our goal is to be able to bring our employees back to a safe workplace and to have them all feel comfortable and safe, that we're taking all the precautionary measures to safeguard them. That has always been our top priority, the health and safety of our employees. And then to be able to resume production and have some, I'll call it, managed ramp up. I think where a lot of challenge exists is with schedules and not knowing exactly what the volume requirements are going to be, what the demand is going to be. And so certainly in Europe and in North America, it's really pure guessing and speculation as to what those demands are going to be for light vehicles, if you will, in terms of the consumer. And as I said, I think it's important to remain very flexible.
Yeah, it's got to be very confusing for any supplier. In the U.S., most of the transplants were scheduled to open in early May. Now they're starting to push that back. GM, Ford, and FCA tentatively, reportedly, are looking at May 18th, the middle of May, but the state of Michigan, where they have so many facilities, is supposedly going to be shut down until the end of May. How do you deal with this stop-start kind of? At least you're not physically stopping and starting, but these schedules keep getting moved.
Yeah, well, we're not getting too excited about all the constantly changing startup dates. We certainly believe that once everybody is ready, we're going to be able to communicate that we're ready to produce, for example, here in the NAFTA region. And it's not so much just Michigan and the other states, but we also have Mexico. Mexico is a very vital part to the NAFTA region and to the supply of products. We have products that, for example, today are produced in Mexico, where we have quite a few facilities, and they're supplied to OEM assembly plants assembling cars in Mexico. But then a lot of those products also come back up to the United States and either have subsequent processing in one of the TI Fluid Systems plants in the United States or go directly to an OEM assembly plant. And so I think the biggest challenge, quite frankly, we're going to have with respect to the NAFTA region would be the situation in Mexico and when can we resume operations in Mexico. And that could be more towards the end of May than it is going to be, the middle of May, for example.
Yeah, you really jumped on this early, didn't you? I mean, you didn't sit around waiting to see what was going to happen. You started sending people home early.
Yeah, well, we had the opportunity of having extensive operations in China, where we initially thought this pandemic was a China issue. I don't know why we thought that way, but I think many of us did. We thought it was contained to China or maybe Asia Pacific. And then, of course, when it spread into Italy and Spain, it was pretty clear that this was coming around the world. And so that weekend of March 7th, 8th, we did a lot of reflection on, how can we best protect our employees, how we can best protect our company and prepare for what could be a global pandemic, which of course it turned out to be. And so on Monday morning, March 9th, we took the decision that we were going to close all of our operations in terms of offices worldwide and asked all of our employees to work from home. I think at the time, employees were pretty surprised with that decision. And, but it wasn't, but 2 weeks later, I had quite a bit of feedback from employees, thanking the company for that decision, as they feel that that was instrumental in us having what is today some COVID confirmed statistics that I think are quite favorable. So looking at a company like TI, where we have 110 facilities around the world in 32 countries and 27,500 employees, we only have 11 confirmed COVID infected employees, all of which are doing fine. 10 of them have, for the most part, recovered completely, and one of them is in the process of recovering. And we're pretty happy with that as a net outcome, if you will, so far. And it's our intention to keep it that way, to put in place now the protocol for the restart so that we don't have a resurgence and that our employees feel safe as they come back to the workplace.
Yeah, those are some pretty good stats there. How's it working out? I mean, clearly in the manufacturing thing, it's certainly in Europe and the Americas, it's an issue. But with your salaried employees that you sent home, have you been able to keep work going?
Yeah, so we I'll say for the first 4 weeks, we're able to sort of evaluate how well we're able to work from remote locations. In most cases, that being our homes. Everybody stayed in full-time work, if you will, for 4 weeks, and then we moved to identifying which positions would make sense to move to a part-time position, for example. And now we're looking at how we can, sustain the situation for, let's say the balance of the year, or for what could be the next 12 to 18 months in terms of the salary workforce. But I've been pleasantly surprised with how well we've been able to function from our homes and from our remote locations. We have no issues in being able to run the company, manage the company from remote locations. And I think we're going to come out of this situation much smarter and much more aware of some unique ways to employ salary workers and provide the flexibility that many of us are looking for at times to still be effective, but also to recognize that we do not have to be in the office to be able to be effective in getting our jobs done.
Yeah, that's very interesting that you think that this might, or some sort of working from home or remotely might continue after the crisis is over.
Yeah, I think that's right. I mean, I've talked to other CEOs that have envisioned that the opportunity to not have to worry about office space quite as much as we typically worry about office space, be able to employ people that maybe don't have the flexibility to be able to come into the office, but are very capable of functioning from home. It's a way to, I think, be more efficient with your workforce, more cost effective, provide that better work-life balance that I think most employees are looking for, and probably save quite a bit of money in the process.
Yeah, so maybe in a way there's some positive things coming out of this crisis.
Oh, I think there definitely is. I think we will get through this. I mean, I think we're all shocked with what we've had to deal with here. If someone would have told us a year ago we were going to be confined to our homes for 4 weeks or 6 weeks or 8 weeks, we would have not believed that possibility existed. But I think we're going to be better off for it. I think our way of life is going to change, not only in the workplace, but our way of life outside the workplace. People are going to be more cognizant of how they can, maintain a higher level of hygiene and protect themselves just in general from a health standpoint. I think from a company standpoint, you learn how to do new things when you're forced to do them. And, we are currently working extensively on how we can reduce our costs and preserve our cash during these challenging times when you look at the rapid, immediate, overnight shutdown of production. Fortunately for TI Fluid Systems, the company's in a strong position from a financial balance sheet standpoint. So we're confident that we will be able to weather the storm. But by the same token, we have to find, permanent ways to reduce our cost and to be prepared for what could be, softer than normal global automotive production volumes over the next, say, 12, 18 months. It could be 2.5 years. We just don't know at this point in time.
Yeah, no, that's very sobering what you're saying there. But I'm going to focus on the positive aspects of what you're talking about here, Bill.
Yeah.
I like that there's at least some new ways of thinking that could come out of this.
Definitely. We think about, just meeting protocol, and we've had to implement a meeting etiquette, if you will, as we're calling in conducting business remotely, in terms of being able to have the quality of meetings that we're looking for that we would normally have in the workplace. But I think we're going to be a lot smarter in the long run, both as professionals in the workplace and as individuals in our daily lives. I think that the other positive outcome, amongst many others, is going to be that I personally think that individual mobility will continue to be in demand and maybe even increased demand. I think in the next couple of years, there's likely going to be more ground transportation as a mode of transportation, which will increase the demand for light vehicles. I think that people will think of the automobile as maybe a protected space for themselves as opposed to other forms of transportation. And I think that can be positive for our sector. And so while we don't know for sure yet, I'm anticipating there'll be some very positive things that come out of this challenging experience that we're all having right now. Challenging
is for sure there. Bill Kozyra, thanks so much for your insights and what you're doing with TI Fluid Systems.
You're welcome. I also wanted to add, John, that TI's had the opportunity to participate in a very important humanitarian effort. And we partnered with Ford and 3M to be able to supply the respirator air hose for the medical worker in the medical industry, to supply a product that when we were done doing in basically 8 days what normally takes 8 weeks, we have a lighter weight product. We have a product that's more usable in terms of flexibility and it not being I'll say right-handed or left-handed, and we're really proud to be part of that. And we're in production today, fairly high volume, and making those air respirator hoses for these respirator units for Ford and for 3M.
Yeah, you're really to be commended for that. That whole program has been so impressive, and kudos to you guys for being involved in getting that up and running so quickly.
Yeah, thank you. We're pleased to have that opportunity, and I know many of our employees are proud to be part of a company that can participate in such an important humanitarian way with supporting our medical workers. So thank you very much.
Real good. Again, Bill, thanks for your time today.
Thanks, John. Have a nice day.